Okay, thanks everyone for jumping on today. Excuse my voice, I somehow lost my voice randomly yesterday. I've tested negative, I feel fine. I've just lost my voice for some reason. I do apologise if it creaks and breaks across the next hour. Before we get started, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands on which we are gathered on today, a land on which we play our great game of Australian football. I acknowledge elders both past, present and emerging, and pay our respects to the Aboriginal connection to land, sea and spirit. The agenda's been slightly increased today. I've got a couple of updates from this morning that I'll include around the accreditation and the mentor program. So quick little update on those. And then everything else is as it was communicated in the meeting invite earlier this week. I think I've tried to do this a couple of times. I don't think Nick is on just yet. He's stuck in another meeting. Hopefully I'll get Nick to introduce himself at some point, either today or in our next workshop. So I know I mentioned last month. So Nick is now Community Development Manager, and he looks after coaching, umpiring and volunteers at AFL Vic. So it'd be good to have Nick introduce himself and just give you a bit of an overview of what his role entails. We've also have, I can't see him on the line, but we'll have Sam Confate, who originally from VAFO is now at Regional Manager at AFL Southeast, and at the moment he's sort of managing the umpire director role while they're searching for someone to replace Darren Holt. I'm going to kick it straight over to Sando. You can see he's online from, I think, still in sunny WA.
No, I'm back, Talbot. And it was raining and cold and windy in WA there for 3 days. But thanks, Talbot. I just wanted to start. It's pretty short. I'm getting on the road for the next sort of 6 weeks now that we can, with the sort of COVID restrictions easing in each state. Going to spend some time with each of the states. As Talbot said, I was in WA, seeing how obviously they go about umpiring in their community space, and some great work that they're doing over there. But I guess the focus now, Talbot, is we're looking at, or I guess the overall approach is the environment. So in our umpire clubs, ensuring that the environment is inclusive, is safe, is welcoming. And part of that, of course, is, well, I guess the focus now nationally is we're looking at recruitment and retention, but there's no point with recruiting umpires if, as I said, our environment and our umpire clubs, if the environment is not where it needs to be. So that'll be a bit of a focus. We're still trying to get the LMS up and going on the development course. And I know every time I speak to you in the States, it's, give us a date, but we're working on that. Hopefully that'll be soon. And we're going to start looking at some marketing campaigns in the second half of the year to ensure that we're attracting more young umpires to come and at least try. But exactly what I said, if the environment's not where it needs to be, then we need to work on that first of all. Without embarrassing Talbot too, Talbot put a ton of work into the Community Umpiring Week, and there was so much great publicity at a time when umpiring really needed it a couple of weeks ago. So Talbot, well done and great work, everyone online for getting all the AFL umpires down, and the work that we did in the community over that sort of 10-12 days was really powerful. I spoke to so many parents, so many young umpires who are really enjoying their experience out in the community, which is great feedback for you all as well. But without a doubt, Victoria did it the best out of all the states, and that was all driven by Andrew. So well done, Talbot. It's probably part of the reason why you run down, mate, because you were working 24/7 there for a couple of weeks. So I don't really have anything else. I'm just quickly looking at my notes, but I think that's it for me. Obviously, yeah, I've got to get on the road and come and visit some of you in your community umpire clubs as well. But that's coming. I promise you. But I guess that's it from me, Talbot. Back to you.
Thanks, mate. And we'll touch on some of the community umpiring stuff from the last few weeks shortly. Okay, so the community umpiring development strategy. So pretty much we're almost getting through it throughout the year. Like I've said a couple of times, I'm trying to make sure that I'm bringing things up as they become relevant to everyone, not too late, not too early. So today we'll just touch on the accreditation pathway. I've got an update for Victoria. The mentor program, I've got an update as well. Update on the academies. We'll just do a bit of a recap on the community umpiring round and the golden whistle as well. So community umpire coach accreditation. So this pathway of the intro, the development and the advanced course, we're all aware of this. Now, what I can confirm with everyone here is that the development umpire coach courses are now active in the LMS for your coaches to go on and complete their online modules. So it's all live, it's up and running. The online workshops for each course are scheduled for June 26th at 7 p.m. for the development umpire coach course, and then July 3rd at 7 p.m. for the advanced umpire coach course. Okay, and then obviously they've got the additional tasks that need to be completed by September 30th to be ticked off on their accreditation. So for the development umpire coach course, they just have to have their competency checklist completed, and that is managed by the umpire coach themselves, not by you as umpire managers. So the umpire coach needs to organise with you or someone else to be observed as a coach once during the year to have their competencies ticked off for a development level. And then for the advanced level, they need to have their competencies ticked off on 2 separate observations by another umpire coach. And please remember that the coach who is ticking off their competencies has to be at a higher level unless it is an advanced coach. Okay, so an advanced coach who has already completed their advanced accreditation can tick off another advanced coach because that is the highest level. Those are due September 30th. And then the last task for the advanced umpire coach course is the coaching plan, which again, the umpire coach themselves manages and uploads into their account on the LMS, where I'll be able to tick that, check it and tick it off for them to be accredited. What I will do after this workshop is I'll send a list of all the coach accreditations that are current. That is all based off the 2021 data that was exported from Sports TG. So I really pushed towards the end of last year to have your coaching records updated. So that way we had a really sound base of umpire coaches to start with for this year. So that's the list that I'll be going off. I'll send that list around so that way you can check which umpire coaches have been accredited in the past, whether it's active or not. So that way they will know and you can direct them to which course they need to be completing. I thought I had another one in here. No, sorry, I'm gonna show you how to access that shortly. But the other course that is now also live in the LMS is the mentor program. This has been around for some time now, so hopefully it's not new to many of you. Anyone that's sort of new in their umpire manager role, it might be a bit new, but for those that have been around a while, the mentor program is active. It's live on the LMS. So it's recommended that any of your mentors that are looking after a first year or a newer umpire to go onto the LMS and complete the mentor program. So that's all live. To access, I'm still getting a few individual coaches contact me about how to access all the resources and whatnot. So it's really imperative that you do educate your umpire coaches and all your communities on how to access the LMS because it's all active. So first step is to go up to your name, select my profile. Second step click on external links. Third step, generate link. Fourth step, click on the go to LMS login page link. Now, if you don't click on that within, I think it's 5 minutes, it deactivates and it won't work, and you'll have to log out, log back in, and start all over again. Once you've clicked on that go to LMS login page, you'll be taken to the screen on the left. This is the LMS portal. Introductory course has been live for a while now. The Umpire Training Centre has all the resources, videos, PowerPoints, PDFs, documents, etc. Field boundary and goal, that's all there. Course catalogue, number 5. Click onto that, and that's where you'll see the Advanced Umpire Coach course, Development Umpire Coach course, and the Mentor Training course. They are all live, so those screenshots were taken this morning. They're all live and ready for your coaches to log into. Now, at the moment, there's no pathway as such for umpires to be directed to the appropriate course. It is on the umpire coach to select the relevant course for them. So if they select a course that's not relevant, so if they're a development umpire coach accredited and they select the development umpire coach course again, well, that's not going to get them their advanced coach accreditation. And if they select the advanced umpire coach course without completing the development umpire coach course this year, they won't be accredited and accepted into the online workshop. So they still need to follow the correct pathway to make sure that the accreditation is done properly. Any questions around the coach accreditation? So again, for the Metro leagues that are not using OHQ, your umpire coaches to do accreditation still need to create an OHQ account. It's already been set up that they can still select your league to be associated with. Doesn't mean they'll need to use that for appointments or payment or anything. They just use it as an access portal to the LMS. That's all it is used for the Metro leagues who are still using Sports TG. Community umpiring rounds. I just wanted to highlight successes. It was a busy couple of weeks, but it was for me it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed coming around to some umpire clubs, getting around to the AFL matches and assisting and seeing all the umpires have some fun on an AFL ground. It was really enjoyable. So community training, we had 18 training sessions visited by an AFL umpire. I would be fairly confident in saying that probably the most that's ever happened in 1 year during community umpiring week. I know it was across 2 weeks. We got 18 visits, which is hopefully a lot higher than what's happened in the past. Here we've got VAFA, Goulburn Murray up in Shepparton, Eastern Football Netball League, and South Metro and Southern Football Netball League. We had 7 AFL matchday experiences. So in the past, it's generally just been the one weekend, which is, I think the most has been 5. So 7 matchday experiences, just exposing more umpires. Bottom left-hand corner, we had umpires from Northeast Border come down for the day. We also had umpires from West Region, Outer East, and also we had representatives across Gippsland attend one of the matches this year as well. So we were reaching far corners of Victoria with these experiences. And then there was 10 junior matches involving AFL umpires. So here we've got Nick Brown, who went out to Outer East Football Netball. We've got Andrew Heffernan, who went out to Yarra Juniors. He actually umpired a game involving, I think it was Canterbury, who he played for as a junior. And then we also had Ray Chamberlain go out to East Melbourne Answorth, who's Jared Waitley's son plays in the under-10. So Jared Waitley and Ray Chamberlain umpired a match together on a weekend as well. And the other really pleasing thing was to just see so much traction online. There were a number of different articles that were written across all of Victoria So there's one right in the middle there, which was AFL Central Vic. They did an article about their umpires. Photographers all around the state were just spending time taking more photos of umpires and posting them either on their own personal social media accounts or their business accounts, and then sharing them with leagues and regions and umpire clubs. We had videos shared of AFL umpires down the bottom, Molo, John Howarth, Tim Lagoon, talking about their experiences. So the traction and the social media, the messaging that went out all across the state was just fantastic. People changing, groups changing their profile, their cover photos, promoting the hashtag and umpire.afl. So it was just really great to see. Eastern Football Netball League did something a little bit different, where they actually just had random questions answered by umpires throughout the weeks. And they posted those videos up there about why they umpire, how they got into umpiring, what are the benefits of umpiring. And then we had everyone sharing all their experiences with AFL umpires. So thank you very much for all the work everyone went into. Like Sando said, it was a hard couple of weeks in umpiring, and to flip it into a really positive week would have taken a lot of work. So thank you very much for everyone putting their efforts in. So just one point that the AFL Vic media team wanted me to just highlight, just to make sure that even moving forward, it doesn't have to be Community Umpiring Week, that just always have a call to action to include, visit Umpire AFL for more info, or visit your own websites or your own links as well. So just make sure you include that call to action. Is there anyone that has any specific feedback or comments off the top of their head about the campaign and the week that happened?
I suppose from our own at North East Border, Talbot, not having umpires visitors previously years, the group really enjoyed it. So definitely a big thank you there. They were really engaged, our group, and also the guys we had as well. So that was really good. And the guys that went down for the day had a really good experience too. So they really enjoyed it. So it was good to have a bit of, like, being the furthest group. That just definitely was noticed and appreciated as well. So thank you.
Yeah, funny story from Northeast Border Group. Little umpire Sanjaya, I think Buckets might have already heard about this. When he knew he was coming down to Melbourne for his AFL match day experience, he found Nick Brown and Alex Swetton's Instagram accounts and private messages them both saying, same message, "Hi Alex," or "Hi Brownie, you're my favourite umpire. Can I have a signed shirt of yours?" And they both rocked up with a signed shirt on the day for him. So we organised, he got one, and then we gave another one to another boy who just really enjoyed the day. So that was a funny little story out of that one.
Sonny's favourite umpire would actually be Jacob Morrison, because Jake's brother is Sonny's teacher. So
there you go.
He's probably actually got another 10 favourite umpires too. So.
Well, if anyone else has any feedback either after today, please let me know. All 3 or 4 activations were a huge success. And as I said in one of my weekly updates, we've actually got the VFL umpiring groups coming out to you later on in the year. So the fieldies will be coming out on either July 5th or 6th, and then the goalies and the boundaries will be coming out on either the 12th, the 13th. It is the 19th, the 20th, or the 21st. So like I did with the AFL umps, I'll actually send out a sheet with all the umpires, where they're heading to, so you know who's coming. So I'll send that out in a couple of weeks' time. Okay, the Golden Whistle program. Now I'm going to put some noses out of place here. So I'm expecting a bit of feedback afterwards, but I mentioned last year that I was looking at potentially altering or changing it or meeting some different needs with the Golden Whistle Award. So I've actually put up the Golden Whistle program. What I found last year was that across Victoria, the Golden Whistle Award that is, it was branded, funded by AFL Victoria, had very little, in some places had very little relevance to what it was actually designed for. So I asked last year for some not strict, but some more guidance with the criteria of who it was going to, and through learning about how every umpire club used that award, it was very different from wherever you went. So whilst I still recognise that umpire clubs would like an AFL Victoria award, which I've kept for them to use, I've changed the structure so that the Golden Whistle program actually recognises young umpires who have already identified as aspiring to be promoted through to the state league and above, a part of that program. So they're part of the V-Line Talent Academy, and it's hopefully going to have more recognition within the AFL Victoria community. Previous years, the only recognition is with the umpire club themselves, and you don't really know where that umpire is going once they've received their Golden Whistle Award. So this year, there'll be 3 awards. There'll be a Golden Whistle, which will be 1 recipient across the state. There'll be 12 Silver Whistle Awards, which will be aligned with each of the 12 academy groups. And then there'll be a Bronze Whistle, which will be available for umpire clubs who don't have anyone represented within the Silver Whistle category. So there are some regions that share an academy group. So the Western Academy, which is West Region and Riddle. So obviously there's 2 umpire clubs in that group. They'll only receive 1 Silver Whistle Award. So the group that misses out on having a representative with that Silver Whistle, if they would like to, would be able to utilise a Bronze Whistle Award through AFL Victoria. The reasoning I've sort of come up with this structure. So last year we had 27 umpire clubs who all received a Golden Whistle. There were only 26 given out because there was one Golden Whistle denied for the umpire being unregistered. There were 4 duplicate awards across umpire clubs. So there were 4 umpire clubs who already have the same, or they already have another name for their Golden Whistle Award, whether that is, most promising umpire, or there are a couple of groups that actually have a historical relevance to the Golden Whistle being named after a significant past member. Of the recipients, 14 were already academy umpires. 6 of those recipients were promoted to the state league. 3 recipients who weren't part of the academy have now since been added to the academy in 2022. 8 of them have not been included in the academy after receiving the Golden Whistle. And then 2 umpires haven't even registered in 2022 after receiving their Golden Whistle. So over half of the non-academy umpires either are not involved in the academy or aspiring like the award is supposed to be representing, or they're not even umpiring. So the Golden Whistle as a retention tool doesn't really have any data to back that messaging. But the data around academy umpires and being successful after receiving the Golden Whistle can be supported. So in terms of Victoria, the new structure will be 1 Golden Whistle, 12 Silver Whistles across each of the academies, and then up to 15 Bronze Whistles scattered around Victoria for umpire clubs that don't have a recipient of a Silver Whistle. Before I take on any comments, so the process for this year, so the Silver Whistle nominations will be provided by each of the academy managers, and that will be 1 field, 1 boundary and 1 goal from their academy group who they believe should be the recipient of their silver whistle. The nominations will then go to the talent coordinators, and the talent coordinator in each zone will then determine which of those 3 umpires will be the recipient of the silver whistle. And it'll be based on the feedback that you provide them on their on-field successes this year, and also their off-field involvement as well. We have a number of different sessions in the academy that are not on field, and the talent coordinators are keeping an eye on which umpires are engaging and which umpires aren't engaging in those sessions. Once the 12 silver whistles have been determined, we'll sit down as a group, the talent coordinators and AFL Vic staff, and determine a golden whistle recipient. And that person will be determined by the potential for that umpire to have success at state league level and above. What I've also going to be pushing is that all the silver whistle and golden whistle recipients will be included in the AFL Victoria Community Awards. I was actually asked last year to include all the golden whistle winners in that program or that event, but due to the sporadic nature of when they were being awarded and announced within your own umpire clubs, that was really hard to link in with the AFL Victoria Community Awards. But this year we will include those recipients with the Community Awards. And then the bronze whistle. So once umpire clubs have, I guess, been notified that the silver whistle recipients, if they don't have any recipients that are represented in their umpire club, they can choose to utilise a bronze whistle award, which will be funded and provided by AFL Victoria. Now, if umpire clubs already have their own golden whistle equivalent, then you are encouraged to continue to use your golden whistle equivalent within your umpire club. Like I said before, there are a couple of clubs who actually have them named after significant past members, and that should be continued to be recognised. So I'm not trying to override an individual umpire club's award within their UA or their former structure. So this is now purely going to be an AFL Victoria focused and provided award. Are there any queries or questions around that process? So based off the limited feedback I received last year, where feedback was still around it should be an AFL Vic award. There was a bit of feedback from small umpire clubs who still wanted the award, and are probably not as represented in the academy program, but also having a little bit more consistency with who the recipients are, and then acknowledging those recipients more broadly rather than just leaving it to the umpire clubs. So if you've got any questions after today, please let me know. What I'll do is I'll set up some timings in terms of the process, and I'll pass those on once they're set. And I know when the AFL Victoria Community Awards are as well, because we'll tie it in to make sure it's all everyone's notified well in advance before that event. Just a quick Community Umpire Talent Academy update. So firstly, observations, they are starting at community games. Again, I will try and give you as much notification as I possibly can when I've got a match day coach coming out to watch some of your umpires. So thank you very much for those who have worked with me over the last 2 or 3 weeks about changing appointments up. I know it's going to be really tough when you've got umpires doubling up in some cases, but thank you very much for those that have worked with me to ensure that your umpires are getting watched. The next online PD sessions, these have all been communicated on the team app. So if you haven't joined the team app as an umpire manager, you're more than welcome to. But the next session is Monday, the 20th of June, which is on self-discipline. Feedback was the umpires wanted to hear more from VFL umpires about how they manage being a VFL umpire and still working full time, still studying full time, and still having, your personal life and your social life, etc. So we're going to have a bigger focus on state league umpires running that session that night, and then we'll have a mindfulness session in that should be August, not June. Monday, the 15th of August is the mindfulness session, which will have the VFL sports psychologist Greg Buck running. I'm also going to give everyone a heads up now. Last year there was only one umpire added when I did this, but there's going to be a final academy intake. Most leagues are about to hit the halfway mark of their season, so hopefully you are now getting an idea of any younger umpires or any umpires within your groups who are starting to really excel, and if they haven't sort of made themselves aware to you that they do want to be put on the pathway and they do want to see where umpiring can take them, now's the time to slot them into the program. So that link that's on there, I'll send the link out. So if you or any umpires are now looking like they're really excelling this year, they'll need to fill out that link, because come the end of the year, if they do get asked to attend the V-Line Cup, they will need to prove their vaccination status as per AFL policy, because it is a talent carnival that's under the AFL policy with vaccination. Just want to note that this intake is for umpires who realistically could be considered for further opportunities at the end of this year, not for umpires who have shown promise for 2023 in the academy. This is for umpires who realistically could be pushing for promotion with the best junior up-and-coming umpires in the state. When we asked for accelerated nominations, we were absolutely flooded. We were given a crop of, a limit of sort of 10. We've extended it to 12, but to have sort of 30 or 40 nominations where there was 4 or 5 umpires from one club who, coaches may have thought were in the best 10 in the state. So that's probably not a realistic expectation of where your umpires are at. So I want you to really make sure that you're thinking about whether these umpires are realistically, compared to everyone else, going to be considered for any opportunities. That's the sort of premise I want to put on that, because there's no point putting on another 50 umpires now and nothing happens with them for the rest of this year. I will send out a current academy list post-workshop to everyone, so you know exactly who has already been included, who's completed their acceptance form, so we know that we've got their details. We're trying to get out there and observe them already. So I'll send that list out to you post this workshop. The last update is just the Accelerator squad. So they had their first online PD session on Monday, which was based on the values of the State League. They were given 3 tasks, and the reason I'm telling everyone here is because one of the tasks, they probably will be coming to you at some point, or your coaches, for assistance. So one task was focused on the self-improvement of values. Second task was umpire club improvement of values, where they were asked to identify a behaviour or an action that fit the 2 values of honesty and one team that they would like to address with their whole umpire club, their discipline, or their squad. So any Accelerator umpires will come to you wanting to do some sort of coaching or education with a group of umpires at your umpire club. So please help them coordinate that. Not only is it, to promote or educate other umpires within your umpire club, it's also a bit of a leadership task for them to develop confidence in themselves and working with other umpires. And then the third task they were given was to create their own development plan, which is what we do at the State League as well. So again, we're trying to make sure that we're starting to introduce them to behaviours and tasks and vocab and things that we do at the State League, so that when they do get that opportunity, that they're going to slot in really nicely and they already know what to expect and how to do things. Last thing I just want to mention, so I've been receiving a lot of feedback from the umpires themselves about not being allowed or even being marked down for implementing some State League on-field expectations. Whilst I know a lot of your umpires are a bit older and used to the old traditional 2-umpire system, the only way that these younger umpires are going to be able to improve and develop their skills is if they start being allowed to implement some of the changes that we're making. I was at Ballarat a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of the older umpires, when I went through 2 changes, one was supporting in a 2-umpire system, supporting at a set kick, and the other one was a boundary throw-in positioning and movement. When I implemented those 2 changes, all the older umpires said, I'm going to start doing this because it's much easier. So some of the changes we're making are not to just reinvent the wheel. They are simply, I call it smarter running. I'm trying to hopefully have these umpires start to adopt some of our movement processes and patterns that can still be implemented by your broader umpire clubs without making it more stressful, increasing that physical load for your older umpires. So if they do come and ask and say, oh, this is what they're teaching me in the academy, please just allow them to continue to do that and inform your coaches that that's how they're going to be umpiring from now on. Interpretation and rule application, yes, that will still sit with how you want your umpires to be implementing that within your league. But when it comes to management and movement patterns, they are things that can be implemented very easily without changing other aspects of umpiring. I'm going to keep moving. If there's any questions on that, please reach out to me afterwards. So girls and women in umpiring, I'm not going to hound too much on this stuff on here, but I'm sure everyone has seen the many articles, the many comments online. It probably wasn't a very nice time for anyone in umpiring for about 2 weeks. Off the back of all that, rather than harping on the stories and the messages that came out of these articles, I just wanted to address a couple of things in terms of what can we do now to change the narrative, because obviously this narrative was one that we couldn't control for probably a good 48 hours, but we can definitely start doing things now within our own umpire clubs to hopefully reverse any detrimental impacts on your umpires that all this news would have created. So just a couple of strategies that after speaking to different people that, and this is from a community level and also through the safeguarding and integrity team at the AFL, some things that everyone can do to help make sure that your female umpires are continuing to feel supported, and that they know that they've got people to go to, and that if there is an issue, they know that it's going to be actioned appropriately. So now I can see Al's online. So Al, if you want to jump in at any time and just add anything that I might miss, I think the thing to highlight here is that I know I'm a male talking about how we can do some things to support female umpires. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to have all the information, or I'm not going to have the correct messaging. So this is why there's a couple of messages in there about utilising a female person. So Al, jump in if you need to. So the first step is just resetting your environment. Now I know I did send an email out to all umpire club managers or contacts a couple of weeks ago, which had some just broad generic messaging that the AFL produced to send to all your female umpires, and it was asked that that messaging came from a senior female figure within your umpire clubs, not a male figure. I just want to reiterate that again, because I have seen over the last week or so a couple of umpire clubs putting some videos or some post out online that is coming from a male. And while it's well intended and it's definitely there it's designed to show support, coming from a female has a greater positive effect on other female umpires. The data has shown that when it comes to participating in sport, in recreational activity, the social connectedness between females is a lot stronger than what it is in males. So if they can see that there's that social connectedness and they've got that support and there's someone that they can go to, That really needs to be highlighted at the moment, that there is a senior female person that they can go to at any stage. If you don't have a senior female figure, well, then that's something that as an umpire club you will need to address and try and work on finding some female figures who can assist your umpire club in the female space. Next thing will be to engage your female umpires. I mentioned before we couldn't control the narrative, but now we can control the narrative. One task that I think will be really powerful, and feedback is showing that it is going to be very powerful, is organising a forum or a discussion or a focus group with your female umpires, allowing them to raise the things that, the easiest way I could put this was raise things that can keep happening within your umpire club, things that need to change, and things that should stop within your umpire club. Again, to make sure that this is a safe environment where they can feel they can actually talk about anything that they've experienced or witnessing, should be run by a senior female member within your umpire club or your region or your league. One of the points from Jean Nestor, who's done a couple of sessions with us, these forums and or workshops should include the ability to empower the female umpires. And she spoke about how empowering female umpires is simply educating them on what their rights are, but also what their responsibilities are. I've got on the slide here, it says the next webinar addresses that. So I'll mention the webinar a little bit later on, but empowering females to be able to speak up when they see something, when they experience something, is really important. But at the same time, letting them know what their responsibilities are empowers them to be able to speak up about those things. And the last thing is educating your umpiring communities. So we've already been addressed by Jean and Andrew McIntosh in Integrity about the reporting portal, and that is for all umpires, not just females, not just underage umpires. It's for all umpires. A couple of things we want to highlight is based off some real life examples that we've heard about in the last month. Umpire clubs are probably not trained or educated in the proper management of incidents being reported, and that's why the portal's been developed, because there is a dedicated team of people to take on any complaints or any submissions via that portal, and they can deal with them appropriately. They have the training, they have the education, they have the knowledge, they have the resources to make sure that anything that goes through that portal is going to be followed up. And it's going to be followed up without any bias. They're an independent group, so they're not within your umpire clubs. They're an independent group at the AFL that are employed to do that. There's no risk of a recrimination for the umpire who's submitting that. So that basically means that if an umpire was to complain about something, they may suffer afterwards by not getting appointments or missing out on opportunity because they've complained. So that's what recrimination is, or being ostracised from a group. So because it's completely anonymous, it goes to an independent group of people. It just eliminates or limits umpires being recriminated or ostracised from their groups. So please make sure that when there are these sorts of incidents and complaints coming through, that they're handled appropriately, because we have heard about real life incidents in umpire clubs where they should have been handballed off to the AFL or other organisations that could handle it appropriately. So in saying that, please do go back and watch the January and April workshops, January in particular, where the whole session was about safeguarding children by Jean Nestor. The April workshop had the section about the reporting portal with Andrew McIntosh on as well. So please go back and watch those sessions, or just go back and look at the notes and the presentation that was sent out. The AFL Victoria webinars as well will be extremely helpful with understanding what your roles are when it comes to these sorts of complaints. As soon as they start getting into that physical and sexual nature, that's when we need to start making sure that we're handballing those off to the appropriate people within the AFL to deal with that for us. In terms of from a AFL Vic and an AFL perspective, there are 2 initiatives that are being developed and have been worked on for a little while, actually, before all the media reports came out a few weeks ago. So it's a little untimely that it may look a little bit reactive, but these couple of things have been worked on for a while. So firstly, from an AFL Vic perspective, there was a proposal sent to the AFL Commission a couple of weeks ago for a new female umpire academy to be piloted next year during the pre-season phase of 2023. So from around January through to March next year. It will include all disciplines, field, boundary and goal. Female mentorship program participants will be invited automatically into this new female umpire academy. There will also be the ability to recruit new female umpires into this academy to participate before they get introduced to community football or any other football. The focus of the academy is going to be on-field performance. So skills, management, decision-making, running patterns, etc. There will also be a smaller element of well-being and support, but it will be mainly about on-field performance and their ability to perform as an umpire. Like I said, it'll be a pre-season of 2023. Through this academy, there will be opportunities for some females to have involvement in the state league, whether that's sporadically or ongoing. And then at the very least, at the end of the program, the female umpires will return to community football, to your own umpire clubs, as more confident, more able umpires. So this is a bit of a pilot to start with. To trial a female program, so it's only female umpires. There'll be female coaching included. There'll be a training venue that will be supplied where only the females will be attending on those nights. And depending on the nature of competitions through that period next year, we'll be involved in female football competitions throughout the program where they'll be able to learn and develop their skills. So bit of a new program where it's going to be 100% female focused. The other initiative, which I'm actually going to hand over to Al to speak about now, is in relation to the AFLW season coming up.
Thanks, Talbot. I do apologise. I'm at Adelaide Oval and there are no quiet places here. And so I do apologise if you can't hear me or if people wander past and yell as they seem to do for some reason, even though there's no football going on. So thanks for your time today, everyone. I'm going to be speaking to you about another initiative, as Talbot mentioned, that again was already in the works. So it does in some ways appear reactive, but it was something that we had been thinking and talking about for some time. The primary reason for this is we have AFLW coming up this year in August, and we know that essentially we need more umpires for that particular competition. And so what we're looking at implementing this year is the AFLW Umpiring Talent Development Day. And earlier this week, I emailed all of you in regards to asking for your female umpire email addresses and female umpire coaches email addresses. The reason I had to ask you for this is because Officials HQ is not playing ball at the moment and giving us all of those addresses, and obviously we know that some of your communities are still on Footy Web Sports TPG in terms of us actually gaining that data. So the reason for my email was to ask you to obtain all the girls' email addresses and the female umpire coaches so that we can ask if they'd like to be involved in this day. So just to give you a bit of a brief update of what the day looks like. You can see there are target audiences, existing female field, boundary and goal umpires who are officiating, at any level in Victoria, basically. The purpose is to expose female umpires to elite coaching and development. And so what's going to happen on that day, I'll talk about what's going to happen on that day in a moment. But as you can see, obviously, the idea is that we have hopefully identified maybe some more development opportunities for AFLW, VFLW and NAB League girls competitions. So in amongst the day, it's going to be a range of things. So it's going to be, as I said, an opportunity for development, and hence why it's really for any and all umpires to attend. It's not for girls who have been umpiring for 5 years or 3 years or first year. It's really anyone who'd like to actually come along and experience a little bit of extra development So sessions will include some AFL coaching, some skill drills, practical umpiring. We're going to have a sports psychologist to talk about performance psychology. We're probably going to have Rob Jackson, who's going to talk about high performance and essentially what fitness looks like these days as an evolution from what it once was. Teamwork principles, leadership development, and then also, as Talbo mentioned previously in regards to the female umpires in general, that connectedness and that social connection. We know, you create most umpiring groups is really trying to create some really great environments, but ultimately we don't have that many females at our groups. And so for all of us to come together and actually understand there's a really wide network of female umpires is just a really fantastic opportunity for those girls and women to come together, build those relationships, connections with, essentially like-minded people. So at the moment, our proposed date is Sunday, July 10th. We're just in our final stages of confirming that, and it'll probably be at the hangar. So basically, the things that we're asking, I guess, from you in regards to this particular day is, firstly, if you haven't provided me with those emails, I know that there's a little bit of understanding of security and confidentiality, but all it will be is so that I can email them basically an information package about this day and an expression of interest form, because this will actually be self-nominated. Yes, Jock, great question. It does include non-binary people. So basically it's going to be for those who are not males, essentially. Really, it's just an opportunity, as I said, for development. So as I said, what I kind of need from you guys is a couple different things. So obviously, if you haven't sent me those email addresses, it'd be really fantastic if we could do that today, at the latest tomorrow. We really want to get this expression of interest form out as soon as possible. As I said, it's going to be an expression of interest, so it's not actually anyone nominating. It's those girls saying, I think I'd like to experience some more development. And we think particularly in Victoria, we've missed out on a lot the last 2 years, and so what a fantastic opportunity for us to actually say, here girls, here's something that we haven't been able to do for a long time, and an opportunity for you guys to develop and potentially be exposed to a bit of different coaching, bit of different experiences. The second part of that, obviously, is that some of your competitions do run on a Sunday. And so, for example, if you have girls who have nominated to be part of this particular development day and they would normally umpire on Sunday, July 10th, to, I guess, work with us and with them on their appointments. And so whether they can be appointed to a Saturday match or whether they potentially don't umpire that weekend. We know it's, a challenging period. Obviously, it's full-on football time at the moment and obviously in July, but we think it's really valuable. And I guess the secondary part to this particular development day is to actually identify maybe some talent that we haven't been able to identify before. And so whether that means that some girls who are identified on the day, they might actually be invited to potentially go into some NAB League girls, they might be potentially invited to go into some VFLW women's football next year, or even potentially an opportunity to be involved in the AFLW program for this year. And again, that might look like things like being an emergency umpire. That might look like things like attending coaching sessions, or potentially even actually umpiring AFLW matches. So it's not, the purpose of the day is to provide extra development and opportunities. And as I said, really, from my perspective, reinforce and enhance that connection side of things. But also there's that opportunity to actually expose these girls to opportunities further to come. Were there any questions about the day at the moment while we're all on the line?
The venue, the hangar, that's the Essendon facility, is that?
Yeah, right? So hopefully we've got the hangar, because it means we've got access to 2 football fields and obviously an indoor facility. And what everyone, Chipper and Cam and everyone are working at the moment is whether we can get some female footballers in as well, so that when we do our skill drills and practice games, we actually have some proper football going on at the same time. Excellent. Well, I won't take any more of your time, but I guess just a couple things to leave on. So if you haven't sent me those email addresses, I understand there's that kind of confidentiality component to it. Normally, we would just grab them all off Officials HQ, which we have access to. But as I said, because we're kind of across platforms, it can be a little bit more difficult. The other component, which I didn't mention before, is actually coach development opportunities as well. So the reason I asked your female umpire coaches was because within this day, we're also going to have the opportunity for those female umpire coaches to be exposed to AFL coaches, and also an additional day, an additional session based on coaching and how they can actually further develop their coaching. Further to Talbo's conversation before around, do we have female coaches? Do we have female leaders at our umpire clubs? Again, we want to provide an opportunity for them to, again, continue to further develop their skills as well. And I guess, see opportunities for progression and different steps forward as well. So thank you so much for your time, everyone, today. I think this is a really exciting opportunity. We are piloting it in Victoria this year, and then with the hope that actually in the next few years it does become national. We have a day in every capital city. So please, if you can, and you haven't already, send me those email addresses, and we want to get that information out to those girls. If they have questions that they ask you and you're not sure, please feel free to email myself. As I said, we really just want to get as many girls as possible to this event for all the reasons mentioned: development, AFL exposure, connection, and just really an opportunity to kind of say, we want to help and we want to do better. Thanks, Talbo.
Thanks very much, Al. So if you've got any, please send that list across to Al, or if you've got any questions or queries, or you think of anything after the fact, please reach out to one of us. That's pretty much it for today's workshop. Right under the hour, just before opening up. So just a couple of random reminders, I guess. So firstly, the Child Safe Education Program. There's another session on Tuesday, May 31st. Now, I mentioned before, there was the next webinar is a link to empowering female umpires. So this next child safety education program is aimed at participants and families. So that includes umpires, players, coaches, volunteers, etc. So it's not more the administration side of things, it is more the participants within community sport. So please share that link around, that session around, so many people can jump on to that one. The SCIF funding program, so that round one has been opened. I think I sent that in one of my weekly updates quite a while ago. It closes on the 31st of May, which is next Tuesday. The link is there through the AFL Vic website. There is $2 million in grant funding in 2022. I believe last year, I think it was 75% of umpiring proposals were granted. So please, if you've got any ideas that you could use some funding for, send that through the SCIF program. Last one, just for myself. So starting tomorrow for all of next week, I'll just be on leave, so I won't be on my laptop or on my phone constantly. So if you need anything, so in terms of schools or female, please reach out to Al, general umpiring to Sando, and then any OHQ, you've got Tony Saunders or your local super user. So please reach out to those people next week if it's urgent. If not, if it can wait, send me anything you need, and I'll get back to it when I return on Monday, the 6th of June. So is there anything from anyone else before we finish up today? I think this is the first time I've finished a workshop on time, which is perfect. Next workshop, which will actually be the June workshop, not the May workshop. So that'll be Thursday, June 23rd, 12 p.m. Once again, like I have done this week, I'll send the invite and the agenda closer to the date. If there's anything you do want added, please just let me know. I'm more than happy to add to the agenda. Otherwise, thank you very much for your time. Pretty much the middle of the year for everyone at community football. So hopefully it's all going well. It's about to get very cold over the next few weeks. So engaging with your umpires is going to be really important to make sure that they're all ticking along. If there's anything else, please reach out. Otherwise, I'll chat to you all soon.
Thanks, Talbot. Thanks, everyone.